Hello everyone, Mr. Drybones here, and I've got a bit of an oddity for you today. This here are the 6 issues of Pokemon Power. Uh, Essentially the first player's guide for the original Red and Blue Pokemon games, broken down into 6, call them bite-sized magazines that were released through Nintendo Power, the first one coming out a full month before the games in August of 1998. Let me pull that up here so you can see. And they're all really, really neat. It was very helpful to have back in 1998 to play the original Pokemon Red and Blue. I had Nintendo Power at the time. These are all those comic books from the issue, and this is just about all I have left from Nintendo Power all those years ago. Not that I really mind, but these I kept because these are always fun to look through, and I really appreciate looking at the old art, and they're just really cool little things. So I thought it would be fun if we took a look at each one briefly, and you got to see what the original Pokemon, the earliest Pokemon Player's Guide looked like. So let's go ahead and dive in with the first issue. So the first Pokemon Power issue is essentially what you would think it would be. It's breaking down the early parts of the game, and the way these books always worked is, let me see if I can get in here. Let me zoom in just a little bit. Yeah, that'll work. So on the first page, it tells you what you can expect to see for this part of the magazine, and then it would tell you down below which Pokemon you would expect to find in these areas. And then it gives you a little news, a phony news article. The whole guide is kind of set up like the Earthbound Player's Guide, where it's more or less a tourist guide through the Kanto region, from Pallet Town all the way to the, Indigo Plateau in the original games, with some information about what Pokemon are, points of interest, Pokemon to look for, the bite, the rare candy, and all that stuff. And then as you get into the actual guide, it's very much a Nintendo Power Player's Guide. It walks you through each point getting started, picking out your first Pokemon that you can expect to find in each area, Pidgey and Rattata there on Route 1. And then breaking down, the difference between the games. You get different borders for the Super Game Boy versions. So you've got the blue border, you got the red border. Pokemon are different in each game. And there's actually a little bit more on that a little bit later. Let me zoom back out. And as you go through it, that's how it breaks it down. And the real handy thing about this was that it would actually tell you which Pokemon were in which game with color-coded and what you can expect to find. And then it would even have little blurbs to tell you about where to find special items and things like that, what you can expect to find. So, the Pokemon Mart, what items they would carry. It was a very in-depth book. It would even give you tips for fighting the gym leaders and stuff like that. The one for Brock is actually pretty funny. If you chose Charmander as your first Pokemon, you're not going to have a very good time fighting Brock. So they recommend catching a Pikachu and raising it to level 16. Which that would take a very long time with going through Viridian Forest, because that would be the only place you could level up. Really cool little guide all around. And as you got through the guide, when you get to the end, they'd usually have a few little blurbs, the Oak Files, which in this case would be a type chart to tell you which Pokemon are strong against against what, and all kinds of things that you could expect. And then you'd have some Pokemon fan art, which is always fun. The first 6 episodes of the cartoon done as a comic book, which probably took a fair amount of time, because there were some edits. Because when we go into here, the Pokeballs had names on them, which, if I recall right, in the first episode did not happen. And then when you get to the very end, it actually recommends how you can watch the show for yourself when it would finally come out in the U.S., the anime, what station you could watch it on when it first came out. It's come quite a long way from where it began. But now let's take a look at the second issue and go a little bit quicker, because I just want to show you some of the unique things that are inside of it. So here we go, issue 2. This one's going to take us through the next portion of the game, which is going to be through Cerulean City, Celadon, even through Saffron City, Vermilion City. Breaking down, again, points of interest, things to look for. And it's largely the same thing. One of the things that's really fun, and why I still look through them to this day, is because I like looking at that original Pokemon artwork. Pokemon just don't look like they used to, which I know makes me sound like a grandpa, but man, I just can't get over the original Pokemon designs. And the guides typically went through the same thing as the first one, with little points of interest, what you could find in every area, HP ups, Moonstones, for example. And then tips on how to evolve Pokemon through leveling up, through items, through Link. These were very helpful for younger players or even somebody just starting out. And then they'd even have contests. They actually had several contests as this thing ran. So this one you can actually win a copy of Pokemon Red or Blue, a Game Boy, and a Link cable. So get yourself started. And then again in the back, I think this one just had, yeah, just another what Pokemon stations you can watch, what station you can watch the Pokemon anime on. But when you get into number 3, I think, is where we actually want to take a quick look here. So issue 3 hints at some other stuff here. Exchange Corner, how to get different Pokemon, and it was actually very beneficial. I had Pokemon Blue. Getting that Porygon and the Game Corner, which I know they don't even have the Game Corner anymore because of Europe. Thank you, Europe. Getting Porygon in Pokemon Blue was 6,500 coins. In Red, it was 90. The max number of coins you could carry, 9,999. Ouch. You were better off finding a friend who had the game and just trading with them. As we go through again, largely more of the same. But things get a little bit more, as we go into the back. Now they've got a little bit more about what's going on with Pokemon. The comic book will be coming out, and I actually have the 3rd issue. This artwork is from the Electric Tale of Pikachu, which is actually a really good comic. I love the artwork for it. I mean, Pikachu looks adorable there, and it's definitely worth a read. I'd like to get all 4 issues myself, but the price on those just keeps going up. And I think everybody knows the story now that it was drawn by a hentai artist, which doesn't really matter at this point, does it? The manga was not hentai. It was a very good Pokemon manga. I really liked it. And I definitely recommend checking it out if you can, whether you find a digital copy or not. So let's go ahead and move into the 4th issue. So for the last 3 issues, there's not really much additional to go over. The guide is pretty much what I showed you in the 1st issue. This one, as all of them do, they give you a little bit more in-depth on how to evolve Pokemon. But the one thing that I really like, and it's actually quite an interesting, case study, whatever you want to call it, for the games, is as you go into it and they get a little bit more, because Nintendo really pushed this game hard when it came out in the US, more and more advertisements showed up. Like KFC had the special Pokemon that you could get in the kids' meal. I actually have all 4 of these. All of them still have their tags except for Vulpix, because that was my favorite one. You got the Pikachu Beetle, and then you actually had the Pokemon Pikachu, which was a really cool little, it was Nintendo's answer to the Virtual Pet or Digimon. I had one of those too until I lost it, which is quite a shame. My poor Pikachu got lost out in the wild. I wouldn't mind getting another one of those these days. I really wanted the Eevee Tamagotchi that they released last year, but never came to the US, and I imagine it would cost an arm and a leg to import it. So as we get into the last issue, the one thing that I actually really liked was in this one. Now you're getting into, again, more Pokemon toys. The trading card game was on the horizon. Wizards of the Coast was going to be the one doing the, bringing it over to the U.S. With the base set. And then you actually have the first advertisement for the anime, the VHS for I Choose You Pikachu, $14.98 back in 1998. I actually have that VHS tape laying around somewhere. But it's really neat, all the things that they did with Pokemon here, and I still got all the fan art and all that stuff. Whoops. There we go. And some of this fan art's really good. Like, look at this Growlithe down here. Really good stuff. But then the last issue, I think, is probably the most important one, because this one is actually the one that actually helped you finish off your Pokedex. So the big thing was this was when they revealed Mew. And I did have Mew in the original Pokemon Blue. I got it at the Pokemon 2000 tour. Don't ask me what happened to it or the certificate, but I did have it. And it breaks down the final dungeon. Yeah, spoiler alert for anybody who didn't play Pokemon Blue. Which Pokemon are exclusive to which games, which ones can evolve, with stones. So this issue was the one you wanted to have, because this one would really help you get all your Pokemon. Your version exclusives. And then here in the back, this is actually really neat. I never bothered to send it in myself because I didn't want to destroy the comic book or the magazine, whatever. But you could send in this and you could try and win one of the 151 Mews that they would give away. And you had to send in your cartridge and Nintendo would put it on there and they'd send it back. Of course, these days you can always just do the glitch and get it yourself. But hey, this was one way to do it. And I wish I had tried it, but then I wouldn't have this nice comic book. I'd keep calling it a comic book. What's wrong with me? That Charmander, that person, I feel like they really tried, but it just didn't come together. Now, this one was really neat, because, again, this is 1998, so I don't know how a person did this, doing their own CG Pikachu. What is up with that? Neat. And then, once again, when we get into the back of the issue, another thing you could cut out of the issue was the Pokemon trading card game. where you could actually clip this out and you could send it in to pre-order the first decks and booster packs. Actually, this was for a free booster pack, but you could pre-order at EB Games the first 2 decks. Were there 2 decks or 4? There were 4. Blackout, Overgrowth. What was the other one? I can't remember. I had the Blackout deck, and my brother had the Overgrowth deck. It was a lot of fun. I love the Pokemon trading card game. I wish I could play it these days. I wish they would make a new Nintendo game for it, or even a good mobile game, because the mobile game they have now is not very good. Anyway, so yeah, that was a quick look at the Pokemon Power, the earliest Pokemon Players Guide. They're really cool. I think they're really neat. These are going to be, part of my video game collection forever. To this day, I still go through them whenever I'm playing the original Pokemon games, whether it's on the DS or the original cartridge. I like to pull these out if for no other reason than just to have the maps. You'd think I would have memorized it after 20 years, but you'd be wrong. But anyway, hey, thank you for taking a look. If you want to see more stuff like this, let me know, because I've got all kinds of oddities like this laying around, so thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a comment, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Oh, and please share on social media. I greatly appreciate it. And hey, you know what? I'll see you next game.